Now, this is a special part of the program that we enjoy every year when we present the Tony Blankley Fellowship for Public Policy in American Exceptionalism. During Steamboat Institute's first few years, back in 2009 through 2011, we had the good fortune of having Tony Blankley as a panelist and later moderator of our annual Freedom Conference. Tony truly was the face of the Steamboat Institute. Many of you may remember Tony as the press secretary to Newt Gingrich when he was Speaker of the House back in the mid-90s. Tony was also a regular panelist on the McLaughlin Group, which was the original political talk show. Before you had all of these shows on, well, before Fox News, CNBC, MSNBC, before they even existed, the McLaughlin Group was the original political talk show, and Tony was a regular panelist. Tony also served as editorial page editor of the Washington Times. When Tony tragically passed away from cancer early in 2012, we wanted to do something meaningful to honor his memory and build upon his substantial legacy. Shortly after that, we announced the formation of the Tony Blankley Fellowship for Public Policy and American Exceptionalism, to be awarded annually to an outstanding young journalist or policy influencer who shares the principles and values espoused by Tony Blankley and the Steamboat Institute. Those principles, as a reminder, are limited government, limited taxation and fiscal responsibility, free market capitalism, individual rights and responsibilities, and strong national defense. Our fellowship recipients also carry on Tony's legacy of using persuasion and reason, always with good humor and a sartorial flair, for those of you who remember Tony, never engaging in mudslinging or partisan ranting to make their voices heard. The Blankley Fellowship includes a $10,000 stipend, speaking engagements, travel expenses, robust social media support, and extensive networking opportunities. Each year, beginning in 2014, with the selection of Tom Rogan as our first Blankley Fellow, who's now host of another reincarnation of the McLaughlin Group, our fellowship selection committee has a tremendously difficult task in choosing from among the many outstanding applications received. It's a great pleasure to introduce you to one of our 2019 recipients, Amber Athey, to present this year's Fellowship Award. Amber is Washington editor for Spectator USA and also host of the very popular Unfit to Print podcast. We also have a special video message that we will play from Sagar and Jetty, also a 2019 Blankley Fellow. Sagar is chief Washington correspondent for The Hill and is co-host of the popular Rising with Crystal and Sagar on HillTV.com. We regret that Sagar was unable to join us this week. Let's please give a warm welcome to Amber Athey to present this year's Fellowship Award.
Hello, everyone. I know that I speak for all of the Tony Blankley Fellows when I say that we are all so very grateful for all of the support that the Steamboat Institute has given us over the years, and I was so very honored to be able to be one of the recipients for the Blankley Fellowship last year. They have provided me with so many useful connections as a young journalist that I really wouldn't have been able to receive otherwise. One of my favorite memories over the past year was when the Steamboat Institute invited me to interview Nigel Farage, who is the leader of the Brexit movement. That was truly a stunning, and I was so nervous to interview him because he's really a larger-than-life figure, and the Steamboat Institute was key in organizing that. Over the past year, I've had the privilege of growing my podcast, as Jennifer mentioned. I started a new job in February as the Washington editor of The Spectator, and I've also had the opportunity to appear on my fellow Blankley Fellows show, Rising with The Hill. Jennifer and Rick and the Steamboat Institute and all of you, and of course Tony's family, thank you all so much for all of the support and assistance that you've given me over the past year. I'm very honored and I'm very excited to be passing the torch to the new Blankley Fellow. Patrice Onwuka is a senior policy analyst at the Independent Women's Forum. She is a senior fellow with the Alliance for Charitable Excellence, a project of the Philanthropy Roundtable. She has worked in policy, advocacy, and communications roles in Washington, D.C. for more than a decade on issues related to the economy, employment, technology, and the criminal justice system. Prior to moving to Washington, Patrice served as a speechwriter for a United Nations spokesman. Of her accomplishments, Patrice is proudest to be a wife and mother to 3 boys, the youngest just 3 months old. Both her and her husband are proud naturalized American citizens, raising their boys to appreciate their home countries and to love America. Patrice, congratulations, and please join me on stage to accept your award.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you to the Steamboat Institute, to the Blankley family for this award. When I wrote out what I'd like to share with you tonight, I teared up several times because this award really belongs to 2 people who are not in this room tonight, to my parents. 35 years ago, 2 20-somethings landed in Washington, D.C., stepping off a plane. They had sold their house, their cars, all of their possessions, and had 5 suitcases to their name, and a little 2-year-old girl and a 7-year-old boy. They had traded life in the beautiful Caribbean island of Montserrat, traded the ocean breezes for, the cold, brisk Boston winters. Think about leaving behind 80 degrees and sunny in December for nor'easters. They didn't even have winter coats our first winter because they didn't know when and where to buy them. They sacrificed for us. And to this day, they maintained that leaving everything behind, leaving behind an island that was crime-free and moving us to a tiny 2-bedroom attic apartment. And I think we had maybe 1 window with no air conditioning. Imagine that when you've left an island with a sea breeze that blows throughout the entire place. 2-bedroom house, very comfortable lifestyle. And they gave that up because America was the place for opportunity. They looked 30 years down the line, and I don't know if they saw me 30 years to 35 years in the future, but they knew that what they could offer us here in this country was not what they could provide back home in the Caribbean. They were not wealthy, not well connected, and if you weren't, your kids weren't going to college. The government owns pretty much everything, and so entrepreneurship isn't a part of the fabric in the Caribbean, on our island at least. They worked menial jobs. My dad was in construction and would come home every night. His jeans were caked to their knees in mud and muck. And after a full day's work, my mother would come home, make dinner, make sure we did our homework, and then be hunched over the bathroom tub, scrubbing the mud out of my dad's jeans every night, just to make sure he was ready for work. And they maintain that still every sacrifice was worth it. And I'll tell you the values that they taught. They may sound familiar to you. No one owes you anything. Don't look for a handout. Opportunity is here for everyone if you're willing to work for it. I mean, their words ring in my ears right now. I could hear my dad saying those things. And what they didn't just tell us, they modeled for us that if you put God first in your life, set goals, take your education seriously, delay gratification sometimes, and work hard, and you can see your goals achieved. And one of their first goals was to buy property in the United States. And I remember the day when we left our crime, poverty-stricken neighborhood with gang violence and police tape all over, and pulled up to a 2-story house in a quiet neighborhood with more trees than people, compared to more people than trees. And they said, "This is our new home." And they cried. And I didn't know why they cried, but now I know today why they cried, because of what they sacrificed for us. And this was them achieving their American dream by doing the hard work, the discipline, saving. They made combined less than I made in my first job in DC, but they saved and they worked hard. And that's them achieving their American dream. Me, and what I do, what my brothers have accomplished, we've gone to excellent schools. We've done great things. My mom will call me up and say, "Hey, I heard your voice." And then I looked around and it was you on TV. I can't believe it. And to her and to my dad, they're proud because every sacrifice was worth it. And I'll tell you, America is the only nation where you can go from the ghetto to the White House. When you can experience economic and social mobility, when you can have a better life for your children than you had before. These are the hallmarks of a free society that embraces capitalism and independence and personal freedoms. You know, like you guys, my parents wanted to provide the best for us. And one thing they've told me is that there is no guarantee of success, but there's a chance to succeed. And so I've been blessed to achieve a lot, and now I'm dreaming for my sons, including the 3-month-old at home. But I'll tell you, and this is why I work so hard for the work that I do every day. All of this prosperity, all of this success will not be there for our grandchildren and our children if our nation surrenders to the progressive agenda that is socialism or bust today. What they want, what they're telling young people, is equality of outcomes. Not equality of opportunity, equality of outcomes. But what they're hiding is that what they will deliver is equal poverty and equal misery. If that happens, they will snuff out, they will extinguish the fire that burns in each and every one of us, that burns in our hearts for something better. So that's why I spend my time talking to young people, to women, to immigrants, to young people, to people of color, for them to understand that the greatness of our nation, and our nation is great, but the greatness of our nation is in our principles, our people, and I'll dare say it, our Almighty God. And I truly believe that out of that flows prosperity, flows equality, and flows everything that we're looking for, flows that prosperity and that opportunity. And so I spend my days going against the grain, taking the bullets, taking the snarks, taking the names that I can't even say on this stage because it's so disgusting. Because I want to expose the machinations of the left, and I want to offer more opportunity, offer a better path for someone who is an individual like me to succeed in this country. I believe that's what Mr. Blankley sought to do with his work. And so I hope to carry on that tradition and that legacy, and that is why I'm so proud to accept this award tonight. Thank you so much.
So, if you know Tony Blankley, you know that he was a very dapper fellow, and he was known for wearing his Oxford shoes. So, every year, the Tony Blankley Fellowship recipient gets their own pair of Oxford shoes. So, Patrice, we are going to get ahead and give you your own pair of Blankley shoes.
Oh, and they match my gold tonight, too.
Amazing.
I want to mention mention the videos? Were two brief
Yes.
videos, Linda and Saga?
And we have two brief videos, one from Linda Davis, who's Tony's wife, and Sagar, who was the fellow recipient with me last year.
Good evening, Steamboat Institute friends. I'm so sorry I'm not with you at this year's conference, but I thank Jennifer and Rick for enabling me to just say hello to you, to thank you for your continued support, and to share our welcome to the newest Blankley Fellow, who we are thrilled to welcome. Patrice, you are receiving a pair of very special shoes this evening that you will fill, along with all of the fellows that have gone before you: Amber, Sagar, Philip, Kelsey, Hadley, Jillian, and Tom. Together, you make us hopeful that the future will be one where the conservative values we all share will be not only espoused, but will be accurately and courageously explained through all the media platforms available to us in the coming years. Thank you very much, Patrice. My warmest congratulations, and I look forward to being with you in Washington, D.C. sometime soon. Thank you all, and God bless. Be safe, be well.
Hello, everybody. I'm so sorry to be addressing you all this way and not in person. Unfortunately, I've had a little bit of a health scare, and on the advice of the doctors, I've been advised not to travel, but this will just have to do. Instead, I just want to talk a little bit about what the Tony Blankley Fellowship has meant to me. It's been so important, I think, in the last year of my life because it's shown that there is an actual organization out there which is willing to help young conservatives come together, stand together in media with the onslaught that we see today. The way that the left behaves is they always have each other's back. And many times on the right, we kind of allow ourselves to go out and just fend for ourselves. But in this program, with Amber, with Hadley, with Kelsey, with Phil, with Tom, and now Patrice, I'm so happy to welcome her to really to this family of who we are and who we stand for. I wish I was there and I could show off my shoes alongside yours, Patrice. I know that the taste that they have whenever it comes to those is really incredible. Steamboat is such an important organization. I really wish I could have been there with you all today. I'm sending you all my very best, and I can assure you that next year I will be there in person when the circumstances allow that. Until then, Patrice, congratulations. It's so amazing to welcome you to this family, and I wish you all the very best. God bless.